In the last episode, I spoke about something that has been sitting with me. The idea that more time does not automatically mean more freedom. More time needs more structure. And the more I think about that, the more I realize this cannot be something I only deal with one day when freedom arrives. It has to start now. Because if I want to own my time later, I need to start learning how to govern my time now. But for me, the structure I need most right now is not some perfect full-day routine. That would be unrealistic. I still have the job. I still have responsibilities. I still have limited energy. I still have days where the work feels mentally draining before I even get to the thing I actually want to build. So, the structure I need most right now is more specific than that. It is the reset, the handoff between work and building. Hi, I'm JP, and lately, I've been realizing that if I move straight from the job into the build without resetting properly, I bring the wrong mental state with me. The frustration comes with me. The mental fatigue comes with me. The dullness comes with me. And then the work that matters most starts receiving the residue of the day instead of the version of me it actually deserves. I used to think rhythm would become easier once I had more freedom, once I had more time, once I had more control over my day, once I could finally give my best hours to my own work. And maybe some parts of it will be easier. But I don't think rhythm magically appears because your calendar opens up. If anything, more freedom will probably expose whether rhythm has already been built. That is why daily rhythm matters now. Not because this season is ideal, it isn't. Not because I can structure every hour perfectly, I can't. But because if I do not start building rhythm inside the limits I have now, I should not assume I will automatically handle freedom well later. Freedom will give me more space, but rhythm will determine what that space becomes. That is the part I have to respect. This current season is not ideal. I'm still working a job that takes mental energy. I'm still building in the margins. I'm still trying to keep faith, family, trading, content, and long-term vision moving, while also doing what needs to be done today. And some days, that feels messy. Some days it feels like the job takes more of my mind than I wanted to give it. Some days I get to the end of the workday and I can feel that the sharpest part of me has already been spent somewhere else. That is frustrating. But it is also reality. And I think one of the things I'm learning is that I cannot wait for ideal conditions before I build structure. Because if I wait for ideal conditions, I may wait forever. The rhythm has to begin here, in the imperfect day, in the limited window, in the season where the build still has to happen after the job. That is where the training is. For me, the most important anchor right now is the reset between work and building. Not the morning, not the evening, not some perfect productivity system, the reset. Because that transition determines the quality of what happens next. If I end work and immediately try to force myself into building, I may be physically present, but mentally, I'm often not there yet. I'm still carrying the workday, still carrying the frustration, still carrying the boredom, still carrying that feeling of being mentally done. And if I bring all of that straight into the build, then the build starts heavier than it needs to. So the reset matters. It is not wasted time. It is not laziness. It is not delaying the work. It is preparing to enter the work properly. That distinction matters to me. Because sometimes the most disciplined thing is not rushing straight into the next task. Sometimes the most disciplined thing is stopping long enough to enter the next part of the day with the right posture. I wish I could just switch over instantly. Close the work laptop, open the trading charts, work on the channel, think clearly, show up fully. But that is not usually how the mind works. At least not mine. There is carryover. The day leaves residue. And if I don't deal with that residue, it leaks into the build. It affects my patience. It affects my focus. It affects my care. It affects the way I interpret things. A setup can feel harder to read when I'm mentally tired. A simple task can feel heavier when I'm emotionally flat. A small problem can feel bigger than it is when I never actually reset from the earlier part of the day. And that is why I cannot treat the transition casually. Because the job is not only taking hours. Some days, it also tries to take the state of mind I bring into everything that follows, and if I don't create a proper reset, the build gets whatever the job left behind. So what does the reset need to look like for me? Nothing complicated. Quiet time. And prayer. That's it. Not a massive routine. Not a dramatic ritual. Not something that becomes so complicated that I avoid doing it. Just enough quiet to let the noise settle. Enough space to breathe. Enough time to stop being pulled by the day and remember what I am actually building toward. And then, prayer. Because prayer reorders me. It brings me back under God. It reminds me that I am not building this whole thing in my own strength. It helps me release the frustration of the job before I carry it into the build. It helps me come back to purpose. And honestly, sometimes I need that. I need to pause and say, Lord, help me show up properly now. Not perfectly, properly. Help me not bring resentment into this. Help me not bring leftover emotion into this. Help me not treat the thing I'm building like a burden just because the day already drained me. That kind of prayer matters. Because the reset is not just mental, it is spiritual too. The build window is limited right now. That is just true. I don't have unlimited hours. I don't have unlimited focus. I don't have the luxury of giving the whole day to my own work yet. So the hours I do have need to be protected, not just protected on the calendar, protected internally. Because a protected hour with a scattered mind is not the same as a protected hour with real presence. That is what I'm trying to learn. It is not enough to technically make time. I need to enter that time correctly. I need to bring care into it. I need to bring focus into it. I need to bring the right spirit into it. Because if I only protect the schedule, but not the state of mind, then the build still suffers. And right now, the reset is how I protect the quality of that window. I think rhythm matters because motivation is unreliable. Some days I feel motivated. Some days I don't. Some days the vision feels close. Some days it feels far away. Some days the build feels exciting. Some days it feels heavy. If I rely only on motivation, the quality of my effort will rise and fall with my emotions. And that is not stable enough for what I'm trying to build. Rhythm gives the build somewhere to live. It creates a pattern that does not depend on every day feeling powerful. Work ends. I reset. I pray. I enter the build. That kind of rhythm may sound simple, but simple is probably what I need. Because complicated systems often collapse when energy is low. Simple rhythms survive ordinary days, and ordinary days are where most of this journey is actually built. This is why I think episode 50 matters. Because this is not just about making my current evenings better. It is training for future freedom. If I cannot build a basic rhythm now, inside limits, then more time later may expose that weakness. But if I can learn to reset now, if I can learn to protect the build window now, if I can learn to enter my own work with intention now, even after a draining day, then I am building something deeper than productivity. I am building self-government. I am becoming someone who can carry more freedom later. That matters, because the goal is not just to own my time one day. The goal is to be ready when that time is actually mine. I still want freedom. I still want to own my time. I still want my best hours to go toward the work I'm actually building. But I'm learning that the structure for that future has to begin before the future arrives. And for me, that starts with a daily rhythm I can trust. Especially the reset between work and building. Quiet time, prayer, a proper handoff, a way to leave the workday behind before I enter the build. Because the build deserves more than the residue of the day. It deserves presence. It deserves care. It deserves the best version of me I can bring in this season. And if I can learn to protect that now, then maybe I am not just waiting for freedom. Maybe I am training for it. I'm JP, and I'll see you in the next one.